In this video, Chapter 7.2, I'm going to talk about the financial concept that is known as simple interest. So if you put money in a bank account, you expect to earn interest on it. If you take out a loan, you might have to pay back interest on it. In simple terms, interest is a fee that you pay to the person who is lending you money. And when you put money in a bank account, you are essentially lending it to the bank to lend out to other people. So the interest you earn is the fee that the bank pays you to borrow your money. So there are two different types of interest. There's simple interest, which is what this video is about, and compound interest, which this video is not about. So I have a couple of vocabulary words I need to make sure that we are clear on. The principal, which is designated by a capital P, is the initial value of the loan or investment. The interest rate, R, is the percentage rate that the fee will be calculated on. The future value, capital F, is the value of the loan or investment after some amount of time has passed. And T actually stands for term. That's the amount of time that has passed since the initial loan or investment. So we use these letters P, R, F, and T quite frequently. So the total interest paid will be indicated by a capital I, and that is the amount of interest that is paid or gained. So as I said, this video is about simple interest. I'm going to explain this with an example. Let's say that you borrow $20 from someone and then agree to pay it back with 5% interest. So we will be paying $20 plus 5% of $20. So we have $20 plus 20 times 5 over 100 for the 5%. So 5 divided by 100 is 0.5, so that's where I get my 20 plus 20 times 0.5. 20 times 0.5 is $1, so 20 for the initial investment plus $1 for the interest gives us a total of $21. Another way that I could have calculated it is to think about it this way. I know that I will be paying back 100% of the initial amount plus 5% of the initial amount. So I will be paying a grand total of 105% of the initial amount. So here's my calculation. I have $20 times 105%, which gives me $21. If you're not sure about my percentage calculations, go back and watch the video from section 7.1 where I explain how to calculate percentages. Either way, we get $21, so both techniques are valid. Now, unfortunately, life doesn't work quite as easily as that. Here's a slightly more realistic example. Let's say that you borrow $200 and agree to pay 5% for every day that it takes you to pay it back. So 5% of $200 is $10. So if you pay the loan back after 1 day, you will pay the $200 plus the $10 in interest for $210. If it takes you 2 days, you'll pay $200, the initial amount, plus $10 for the first day, plus $10 for the second day, so $220. If it takes you 3 days, we'll pay $200 plus $10 for the first day, plus $10 for the second day, plus $10 for the third day, for a total of $230. I could have also calculated it $200 plus 3 times $10, $10 a day for 3 days, and that still gives me $230. Simple interest is basically calculated once. We use the interest rate R and the principal P to determine the amount of interest. However, the amount that we owe goes up each day, so we keep owing more money the longer it takes us to pay it back. But the important idea here is that the amount that we owe goes up by the same amount every day. So there's a formula for simple interest. It looks like this. So the value, the final value, the F, is equal to the principal plus T, that's the amount of time that has passed, plus the percentage rate times the principal amount. So P is my principal, which in my example was $200. R is my interest rate, which is 5%. T is the term, which is a day. And F is the total final value. So I'm going to calculate total value on day 6 just by plugging the numbers into the formula. So P is 200, T is 6 days, R is 5%. So if we plug into the formula, it looks like this, and then I would finish working it out. Remember that 5% really should be 5 over 100, but we don't write it that way. So I want to point out one section of the formula here where I have marked in red the 5% times the 200. That is 5% of 200, which was $10. So that's the portion where we just have the interest. So my formula is 200 plus 6 times 10, which is 260, which is what you would pay if you owe $10 a day for 6 days. Now, it is possible that you could just want to know what the interest is, because we know what the principal is. We need to know what the interest is. I called that I, if you remember from earlier on in the video. So my example is pretty easy to do. The loan was for $200, and after 6 days we owe $260, so the interest is just a difference, which is $60. In general, though, the interest does have a formula. It's the term times the rate times the principal. But if you look at the original formula for calculating the total value, I can see that the interest is actually in there, T times R times P. So another way that we could calculate the final value is by taking the principal times the interest. Now, admittedly, my example is a little bit simple. It's somewhat unrealistic to have interest paid out every single day. But if you change it around, make it every year or every month, then this becomes slightly more realistic. But I thought I'd keep things simple.